The recent tragedies in Minnesota have taken an emotional toll on many of us, from mourning those who died to coping with the violent videos all over social media. It's important to prioritize our mental health. There are many healthy ways we can cope with these feelings, and joining us today is Dr. Cristina Montalvo. She is a Chief of Consultation Liaison Psychiatry and Emergency Services at Tufts Medical Center. Thank you so much for being here right on time.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the videos that are out there, right? The deadly shootings that are happening in Minneapolis. The videos are everywhere. How can seeing these videos, or can they lead to, trauma ourselves just by viewing them?
So these videos are pretty graphic. Even as you've mentioned, people are seeing them constantly. And when we see this type of gore, blood, death, it's going to affect anyone no matter what, because it's not something we want to see. It's not something we're used to seeing every single day. So we have to be thinking about what is it doing to ourselves, our mental health, and how are we sleeping with this and thinking about this trauma that, although it's not happening directly to us, we're taking it upon ourselves, and it's accumulating with every view, every stream, and all the feedback that we're hearing about it.
I mean, when you see these videos, it raises your anxiety the more we watch them, right? But especially, let's talk about social media, right? Because you're seeing the videos nonstop, even when you're not even seeking it out. How does this impact our mental health?
So doom scrolling, which it even has a term, which tells you how much of an issue it is, really has harming effects. There's research even coming out that it's leading people to engage less with their lives, their jobs. They're more likely to feel this despair around what they're doing, feel less joy, but also have different symptoms of anger and less compassion for others. And think about kind of how violence has escalated, how anger is escalating, and that's a little bit of that sense that you're feeling. The anxiety that our body and our brain have together around fight or flight. Because that's what we were made to understand. When we are threatened, our body has a natural response to protect ourselves. But if we're constantly in that state, how do we move forward? How do we start being productive and living our lives?
Let's talk about the headlines that are coming out, right? There are more and more that are coming out of Minneapolis every day. How do you do the balance of staying informed, but also protecting our mental health?
It's hard. We want to stay informed, and now with media, social media being 24/7, it's harder to find that balance. Your phone, not only if you're not looking, social media will ding and alert you when something new is happening. And the more graphic, it tends to kind of gather our attention more often. So we have to think about how do we stay informed of national news, federal news, going international, so we can stay informed but not overdo it. One and a few tactics are putting brakes on your phone. It doesn't constantly have to be a stream from social media. One thing as well is looking at more local news. Local news actually tends to have a better balance of more hopeful stories, local stories, rather than the barrage that we're getting more internationally or nationally.
Can I just ask you this? How do you know when it's time to say, okay, pause? We need to take a little bit of a break. Is there a sign or a signal we should be paying attention to when we need to take a break from that?
One, I think, we talked about it a little bit, but I think people have told me too, it's that sense you're feeling. All of a sudden you feel this despair, you feel these emotions start to develop, people will start to breathe heavy, because like we said, that connection between your brain and your body is actually going to have physical manifestations, changes in your breathing. People sometimes are turning to alcohol or having even worsening symptoms of not being able to sleep, or other substance use. And to the point, if it's affecting how you're able to interact, or if you're isolating, those are going to be early signs to, one, take a step back, use some of those tools, but also if it continues to escalate to the point that you can't go back to your life, if you're not able to function, then it might be a time to think about mental health, seeking out care to be able to address some of those issues.
Over the last year, there have been more immigration enforcement operations here in the state. We do have some videos of this. Agents smashing car windows, masked officers taking people from the streets, right? These are the images that we're seeing, right? They can be unsettling. How do we cope with any anxiety from these operations happening in our communities?
It's hard. There's grief. These are our loved ones, our friends, for me, my patients. And it's hard to see people suffering. It's hard to see people scared to seek out care, to think about having to leave, break up families. I don't think that's an easy thing for anyone to experience. It's also hard to see violence against others and law enforcement. Some of those individuals are also our family members. So it does take a toll, which is why we have to take a moment to see who's in our life, move away, and remind ourselves about the empathy that we want to continue to have for all humans about how we move forward, and where we have opportunities to advocate in a productive fashion.
Dr. Cristina Montalvo, we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for watching, everyone. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can watch the show on our very local app. We'll see you next time.